So as you can see, I pulled all my Egyptian walking onions that I had planted in, actually were in this bed here. And I took them out. I cut them up and put them in the hydrator, the dryer. I'm going to dry them out, and then we're going to grind them up and make a powder out of them, because we use a lot of onion powder. Now with the Egyptian onions or any of these onions, they're going to be the spices are going to be a little stronger because they're going to be more fresh. They haven't sat in a warehouse or factory for weeks or months before they're shipped to the outlets. These are the tops that I'm going to be planting today. And I also have more out in the garden area. Now, these have blossoms. Now, these will not develop into seeds. There's no seeds in these because the Egyptian walking onions only have the bullets, the little onions on top. The bullet, really. Bulbets. And those are what make new onions. You can see there's some green tops on them. So we're going to take these and we're going to plant them. Now, these won't grow into seeds due to the fact that they are competing for the nutrients that was in the whole stem. I cut these off because they're not going to make anything. Even the little bulbets aren't going to make much. They're going to be pretty tiny. As you can see, they're pretty tiny. Now, onions don't really get a lot of diseases, and it's best to plant them with other plants because they will help with the other plants. Now, some of these, they're pretty small. I don't think I'm going to plant them. Some of them are small because I did take them before they were really ready. And this one I pulled up. But I have several of these. I have a lot more of them. So, and you can see how they will grow a batch, and then they'll grow more off of that. They'll come out even with more. So you can see that. Now this is the clump that I've got the flowers off of, and you can see I still have quite a few in here. The only problem you have to watch with onions, including the walking onions, is black mold. So you want to be sure that your soil isn't wet, that it's just moist. And I even let mine dry out a little bit before I water them. And it dries out here very fast. It rained this morning, and you can see how dry the ground is. We probably got, an inch of rain maybe, and so you can see that it dries out here very fast. This is volcanic soil, and it's very porous, so the moisture doesn't stay. Even when it rains and snows here, like if it snows a lot here, even when the snow melts off, the next day pretty much the ground's dry. So the soil is soaked in. Now these here already have sprouts coming out on them, so I can plant these too. Now, they say not to plant them next to asparagus, and so my asparagus is there. Not all that close, but I believe close enough. They say it will cause both plants not to mature fast enough, but these onions seem to be doing pretty good, so obviously they're not that close. But I am going to remove this batch. After we get these here dried, I'm going to cut all the tops off of these and dry them in the dryer, and grind them up also for onion powder. We use a lot of onion powder. We use a lot of garlic powder. We use a lot of ginger powder. We use a lot of turmeric powder. I take turmeric in a capsule. I make my own capsules and do that. Turmeric is really good for you, so is ginger. All these herbs and spices are very good for you. Onions are very good. The minute I feel a cold coming on, I make myself an onion and tomato sandwich. And I usually use the purple onions. They say the purple ones have a little more of what you need in them. I can't remember what it was right off the top of my head. But they tell you not to plant onions next to peas, beans, or asparagus, or sage. So, and I have a whole bunch of sage in a big, huge bin, but that sage is going to stay there. So these here are going to come out, and I'm going to plant some other plants in here. I'm going to plant some plants that are compatible with the asparagus. But you can plant these onions with strawberries, beets, carrots, cabbage, lettuce, an array of other vegetables. So I am going to open this up, and I keep this on here to keep the deer out. And I have a couple little spots here that we are going to plant these onions in. And this is our strawberry, one of our strawberry beds. I have another one out front that's pretty much being taken over by blackberries. But this is it. So I am going to plant several of these here. I'm going to pull all these weeds out, which you can see are coming back. Now, I haven't had a lot of problem with the squirrels eating this. They did come in earlier, though, and ate the strawberries. So I'm going to put these two bulbs together here. Now, once they get to growing, I will separate them and plant them a little bit further apart. They say 4 to 5 inches apart. I'm not sure if you can even see what I'm doing due to the fact I don't have anybody to help hold my camera right now. Now they tell you also the reason why those had flowers on them is because, now this is pretty wet because I had just had the hose on out here. So these are pretty wet, but it'll dry out tomorrow. I'll plant this 3 clumps. This is how they actually, why they call them Egyptian walking onions is because they start to get heavy and they bend over and then they plant themselves in the ground, and once they touch the ground, they start planting themselves. And we'll put this clump in here with that, like so. This is the best time of the year to plant. And you can see the strawberries are coming back. These are everbears. see there. Yeah, I'm fighting stuff constantly around here. So we got those in here. And the rest of this is pretty well taken over by strawberries. So these here will plant elsewhere. You can plant these Egyptian walking onions in pots even. You can plant like your I can't remember what flower it was that you could plant the walking onions with. Chamomile. You can put it in with your chamomile, and it will grow with your chamomile. They're compatible. So they don't, like I said once before, they don't get a lot of these. They do keep a lot of pests and stuff out of the area, like any pests that come in here. Once these onions get to growing, a lot of the pests will stay away. Like I could probably put little pots all the way around this bed here and grow the onions, and they'll help keep a lot of the pests away. We do want the bees to come in and pollinate, and they do. They have been coming in and working on the Russian sage. They're not out now. They were out earlier. Well, there's one. You can see them. There's a few coming in. So they're still working. They weren't able to work this morning because it was raining, and they won't come out of the nest when it's raining. So I don't want to plant any onions close to the sage because it's not compatible with your Egyptian walking onions, or any onion as far as that goes. So we want to keep them away from sage. So being in the bed with the strawberries is a perfect place for them. So if you let the soil dry out just a little bit, you'll help keep away any black mold or anything that might be in the soil that might bother the onions. They aren't susceptible, forget that word, to a lot of disease and pests. So that's a good thing. So we don't have to worry a lot about that. Just the black mold that might be in the soil. And if you have that problem, I would find to plant them in pots, and that way you can keep an eye on your soil, keep your pH 6.3 to 6.5 pH, I believe it was, for the soil for your Egyptian walking onions. I imagine that's for all onions. And I hope I explained a little bit more for you. From what I understand with the blossoms on those bulbs that I had, they say that's because they were too close. They get clumped too close, and they will do that. So it's best to keep them, about 5 inches apart when you're planting them. Anyway, hope this helped a lot. It's a lot of understanding of the Egyptian walking onions. And please subscribe. Please make a comment. Please push the like button. Push the bell. So you're notified every time we upload a video. And push the like button. Make a comment. And we will catch you on the flip side.